Happy Friday. We made it. We made it. Sometimes it's hard to believe. Halfway through the week, you think, oh my God, it's never gonna get here. And finally, it's Friday, and you realize you've actually made it. So there's lots of ways to wrap up a week, and I'm gonna wrap up dinner in a couple of different varieties and different wraps tonight. So with that, I'm gonna back up and just tell you who I am. I'm Dee Dee Everly with Your Wild Pantry, and tonight I am going to be featuring my fabulous distributor Epicure and some of the great products and meal solutions they have that will help you get meals on the table quickly, healthfully, and take the stress and the drama out of dinner time. So, but because it is Friday and it's happy hour, I'm going to start with a cocktail because I can. So I'm going to start with just a really simple little way to zhuzh up bubbly. So this is just a little can of sparkling wine, a little Prosecco. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, this is a hibiscus simple syrup that I've made. I used Epicure's Hibiscus Bliss tea, and I steeped it in water and with some sugar and made this wonderful simple syrup. So I keep it in the fridge and I can add it to cocktails whenever I like. So taking this basic Prosecco, adding a little bit of this, adding a little bit of color to the end of my day. So I'm gonna rinse my fingers real quick, and then I will take a drink. I'm back. So it's time. So cheers, happy hour has begun. So I love these beautiful layers of the hibiscus tea in here. It's got a little bit of a sweetness. Hibiscus is an antioxidant, and it also helps with inflammation. So actually this is a healthy cocktail. That's what I'm telling myself. So I'll be enjoying happy hour while we do this. So lots of different wraps. This time of year, and especially here in Virginia today, it is disgusting outside. It is absolutely awful. The humidity is just in places it does not need to be. I'm a Midwest girl and I know humidity, but this is a whole different brand of humidity. You don't want to have to be cooking in the kitchen, heating up your kitchen too terribly much. So we're going to actually rely on the microwave for a couple of different things to make a couple of different wraps that are completely customizable, and you can make ahead, you can make them easy and make them delicious. So I'm going to start over here. So I'm going to make, I have 3 different recipes that I'm going to show off. One is a stacked BLT chicken wrap. It's actually as a salad, but I'm going to do it as a wrap. So I'm going to start, I actually have a rectangular silicone steamer. These silicone steamers are BPA free, leaching free. They're all food grade. They're microwave safe, they're oven safe, and they're dishwasher safe. So they just make life easier. So I have a couple different ones I'm going to show off. So in this rectangular steamer, I've already cut up 1 large chicken breast, a boneless, skinless chicken breast. So I'm going to take that, and I am going to, because I'll be honest, I haven't made some of these before, so I'm going to be looking at my recipe as I go. So with that, I am going to just cover that up. I'm going to stick it in the microwave, and it's going to go 4 minutes. And yes, chicken in the microwave, don't be scared. It's not going to be rubbery. It's not going to be dry. It's going to be delicious. So 4 minutes, and that is off and running. So in the meantime, though, I actually did a couple things ahead. I used one of the Epicure prep bowls. These little 1-cup prep bowls are the bomb. They come as a set of 4, and they come with a silicone lid, so you can make things ahead of time and pop them in the refrigerator. You can do perfect portions. If you're doing meal prepping throughout the week, they're really, really handy. So I actually already mixed up basically the dressing, the creamy component that's going to go on the BLT chicken wrap. So what is in here, though, is a combination of mayonnaise, a fly in here, it is summer. I've got mayonnaise and a low-fat mayonnaise and a low-fat Greek yogurt, and mix those 2 things up with these 2 items. I'm going to do this one first. This is a creamy potato salad dressing mix. But you don't have to do just potato salad. There's so many other things you can do. And the smell of it is amazing. What's great about all the different Epicure meal solutions and spices is that they are all organic. They are, sorry about that. They are GMO free. They are made in a peanut-free facility. So everything is really meeting a lot of people's needs and desires right off the bat. And the best thing about it is you can actually read what's in this. So what happens to be in this mix is a combination of onion, herbs, red bell pepper, inactive nutritional yeast, so I'll come back to that in a second, mustard, paprika, black pepper. That's it. That's all that's in this. And the nutritional yeast is a really great added component because a lot of folks are looking for other ways to get nutrients into their food. This is a really great way to add that punch without even knowing it's there. So that's in there, as well as something called better than bacon. Disclaimer, let's face it, nothing's actually better than bacon, right? Nothing's actually better than bacon. That's my opinion. However, if you're trying to eat less meat products, you're trying to back off of some of these, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, this is actually a vegan bacon. I realize that sounds crazy, but this is actually made out of smoked pinto beans. Strangely enough, so these are bacon bits, is what it is. Like great as a snack. They're good on everything. So you get that little smoky component. You can hear my microwave. Turns out that the dish is a little off kilter, so ignore that. So anyway, so I've already mixed that up, and I will use that as I go. What I'm also going to do while I'm waiting is I'm going to use the Prep Pro knife. This thing is fantastic. It's ceramic. So this is one thing that doesn't go in the dishwasher because you don't want it to chip, but because it's ceramic, it never, ever needs to be sharpened, which is awesome. Comes with a little sheath so you keep safe because I'm the queen of cutting myself, so I have to be really careful with these. But I'm going to use this in our non-slip cutting board as well, and I'm going to slice up some of this celery. So I'm just going to slice it up. It's slicing really easily. Again, I've never had to sharpen this thing. It's fantastic. I'm just going to chop that up really well, and I'm going to use that when the chicken is done here in a second. So I don't know about you, but I love a good BLT, and a lot of times I just don't even think about doing a BLT because you think it's going to be a lot of work making the bacon. So now you don't have to worry about that because you have these bacon bits that taste, I swear to God, like bacon. So we've got that going on. So I just heard somebody come in. My husband is here, so that's awesome. Another nice thing about Friday, getting that going. And yes, I'm already on happy hour. Whoop, whoop. He doesn't like that. So I've got that sliced up and ready to go. And then I am going to also slice up these beautiful cherry tomatoes. I love cherry tomatoes. They're sweet. They're so versatile. You can do so much with them. I love them actually in things like omelets as well. A little mini caprese salad. But in this case, I'm going to slice them up so they're ready to go on my wraps. So I'm just going to kind of order those. And what's great about this knife is that a lot of times when you're cutting things like a tomato, the knife will just going to crush it. So this is really nice because it doesn't do that. You actually can go through really nicely, really easily, cleanly, and you're not crushing the otherwise really delicate tomatoes. So I really appreciate that. So I've got a couple of those already sliced and cut up and ready for me to go. So this one off. So we're going to go back in here and cook it. Pull this out. Now this is very hot because it is steaming. The steamer, hello, it's in the name, steaming. So I'm going to open this away from myself because I do not want a chicken facial. Not today. That is not what I'm going for. So you can see the steam coming out of that. And the chicken, 4 minutes, it is done. It's finished. It's over. It's fantastic. So I'm going to sit this in the sink and out of the way. So I'm going to let that cool off because I don't want to burn myself. But what's great about the silicone, let me show you though in the meantime, is that because it's flexible, there's moisture in here because it's steaming, so it's keeping all the juices in and using that to cook the protein. But because it bends, you can drain things off really easily. So I'm going to step over here for a second. I'm going to drain some of that moisture off of the chicken. We don't want that wet chicken. So I'm going to let that sit and cool off before I actually assemble everything. So while that is cooling, I have one more thing I have to do, is I have to pull out my avocado. So, and I bought these 2 days ago with anticipation of them being ripe today. So let's see how I did on guessing. So I'm going to just open this up. So I don't know if some of you may have heard me say this before, but you know there's something called avocado hand? It's actually a thing. Because so many people were into avocados in the last few years, avocado toast, avocado everything. And so people were cutting avocados and they're not being very careful and they end up cutting their hands and ending up in the emergency room. So it's actually a thing. It's called avocado hand. Who knew, right? So I'm actually going to be very careful as I do that. So I'm just kind of cutting it up already in that half. So again, this is good enough to do something hard like celery, delicate like the tomato, and creamy even like the avocado, which is fantastic. So I'm going to grab a spoon, and when I'm ready to serve, I'll be able to just scoop that out. So it'll come right out of there. So it's almost like its own little bowl. I'm going to let that sit for the moment. So while that cools, I'm going to go on and get the next thing started. I'm going to multitask a little bit. So I'm going to multitask by having another sip of my cocktail. Yes, I am. That's tasty goodness. So the next thing that I'm going to make is I'm going to make a Mexican black bean and avocado wrap. What's great about this in particular, this one, is that you truly could do this as a meal prep thing for the beginning of the week. You could make these wraps and cut them up and seal them into containers for lunches. I know lunch is going to look really different for when kids go back to school, but having that done, even if they're going to be schooling from home, to have that already done, this is a really great way to get creative with wraps. So what I'm going to do with this, get some of this out of the way, is I'm going to use one of our larger steamers. So this is our multi-purpose steamer. This thing truly, I mean, when they say multi-purpose, they're kind of not kidding. So it's a larger steamer. In here, I actually already have a can of low sodium black beans that are drained. So this is our collapsible strainer, Epicures. And so I'm going to get that out of the way. And what I did is, I have another can of black beans here to show you. So this is just a regular black bean. The other can I used was low sodium. And so even low sodium ones still are going to have sodium in them. But the big difference is that this is organic black beans. That's really great. But this has 130 milligrams of sodium. The low sodium ones had 10 milligrams of sodium. There will still be some sodium left. So rinsing them is a really great way to make sure you're getting everything else out of there. So I put this in the bottom of the multi-purpose steamer, and I'm not going to use the steamer basket. The steamer actually comes with a steamer basket where you would put other kinds of items on top. I'm not going to be doing that necessarily right now. So, but in this, I'm going to add a package of an Azteca tortilla soup mix. So what is great about this is, yes, it's for soup, and there's instructions on the back of this package on how to make the soup, but you don't have to use it just for soup. So I'm going to cut this open, and I'm going to sprinkle that over the beans. Oh, I wish you could smell this. Smell-o-vision needs to be a thing. So what is in here, though, are red bell pepper, chili powder, roasted tomatoes, garlic, green bell pepper, onion, and active nutritional yeast. Again, we talked about the nutritional yeast, tomato powder, chives, and chilies. That's it. There's no crazy things that you can't pronounce. There's not anything in here that you wouldn't know what it is, so you know what's in your food. So that. And then it actually also has instructions for the soup and other variants on the back of every single package. Has all of those possibilities. So in that, so I'm going to cover that up. So what's great about this is that it actually has, you can't see, but there's steamer holes in the top of this. So it's going to help that things don't kind of explode in there. So hopefully my micro will not make as much noise this time around. So I'm going to put that in there. And the instructions for this one tell me that it's 2 to 3 minutes, or until warmed through. I'm going to go 2 minutes because I know my microwave. Every microwave is different, so you have to kind of test. I always start with the lowest amount so that I can adjust as needed. And Stacy is going to join us here in a moment. So there is Stacy. There is my lovely friend Stacy. Hello, darling. So I'm already a little bit into it. No big deal. I actually have already started on my my stacked BLT chicken wrap, so that's already partially on its way. And then I'm actually working now on the beans for the Mexican black bean and avocado wraps. So that's going to be really delicious. So I have that in the microwave. But in the meantime, I have here, I have half a cup of low-fat Greek yogurt, 2% Greek yogurt. And again, I mentioned the prep bowls. They have measurements on here, so I don't even have to have a separate measuring spoon or measuring cup. I know exactly how much is on here, so that's awesome. So I'm going to add to that, though, I'm going to add a little bit of lime juice. I'm going to take a lime and I'm going to roll it. So especially if you have citrus fruits that are a little harder, if you roll them, you're massaging a little bit and you're releasing some of the juices. Another thing you can do to release juices is stick them in the microwave for like 10 seconds. So a little tip. So I'm going to go back to that Prep Pro knife, I'm gonna cut that in half. So again, I showed you that that can be used on something delicate, but it's something as hard as a lime. So this is the 2-in-1 citrus press. This is actually back ordered right now, but I can get people on lists for that. So this is for lemon and for lime because limes are a little bit smaller. What's great about this is when you put it cut side down. Some people put cut side up. You can do that. Cut side down is actually going to get even more juices out, and it's going to help press the skin and get more of the essential oils that are in the skin into your juice. So you're going to get even more of a robust flavor. So I'm just going to squeeze that into that right there. And I'm going to use one of our silicone spatulas. I'm going to mix that up just a bit. So that's just going to be that nice creamy tang for a spread that we will put onto the wraps as we assemble them. So, and again, you can do this ahead of time, leave it in the fridge. You could add other flavors to it and have it as a vegetable dip. So lots of variety that you can use with these. So get that out of the way like that. So get these back out of the microwave. So there are, so again, opening away from myself so I don't burn myself. So I'm going to mix up these beans. And again, it has that Azteca tortilla soup mix in here. Oh my God. It smells delicious, absolutely delicious. So you could certainly do this with meat protein, but as a lot of folks are trying to eat less meat, using it with different beans as a protein source is a really great way to give a little variety and a little bit different texture in a lot of your meals. So now I have that. And I am going to, I need to cut up my bell pepper, get that out of my way. So bell peppers, who knows that there is a difference between a male and a female pepper? Who knew that? A lot of people don't know that. So the difference is that the female pepper has 4 bumps on the bottom. The male only has 3. So you can see the difference there. And there is a slight, supposedly, for some people, I can taste the difference, but some people can't, a difference in flavor. So the male ones are generally better for cooking. The female ones are usually better for raw uses, so dips and whatnot. So because the female ones are sweeter, infer what you like, that they are sweeter. So I'm going to use, which are we gonna do with this? Let me just double check. Like I said, I have not made this before, so that's, the thing. So we're gonna use the female one because it's gonna be raw. So I'm gonna slice this open. Again, this knife is freaking fantastic. It cuts just about anything. Just hopefully it will not include me. That would be bad. That would be really bad. Whoops. So I'm getting some of the seeds and whatnot out of there. So I'm gonna just slice that up. So in terms of bell peppers, you can use whatever color you like or whatever you might have on hand. I will say that for me, green bell peppers, for the most part, I like them. They just don't like me. There is something different about a green bell pepper than it is the other colors. They're all the same peppers, just it's a matter of ripeness. And so the green bell peppers, a lot of people have issues with in terms of digestion. They don't like me. I don't really know what I ever did to them, but apparently I ticked them off at some point. So we don't play together anymore. No fun. There's only 1 or 2 things that I willingly say, yes, give me green bell peppers in. One is my dad's pasta salad, his macaroni salad. It's kind of epic. And it really does need the flavor of those. So I like the flavor of them, and I just kind of pick them out so I'm not going overboard. So that's no good. So I've got all of that going here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, I have too much going on here, don't I? I have too much going on. So I'm just going to smash these a little bit now that they've cooled just a hair. Again, just to kind of give a little bit of different texture. You don't really necessarily need to spread them, but if we're going to be putting them on wraps, it'll make them adhere to the wrap a little bit better if you crush them a little bit. So I've got them kind of crushed up here, just a tad. So you could use black beans, you could use pinto beans, you could use red beans, you could use garbanzo beans, white beans, you name it. You could do just about anything with these beans and do different varieties of flavor on this as well. So with that, this is going to have me assemble those tortillas. So let me get this out of the way. And I'm going to actually assemble this one. You know what? Hold that. I'm actually gonna get the next one going, and then I'm gonna come back and assemble. Yep, I'm making this up as I go along. So in here is our third wrap. So the third wrap to the week is going to be an Asian lettuce wrap. These are so great. So again, I have another steamer, because one is never enough. It's really never enough. So I have already in here ground turkey. So a lean ground turkey. You can use any ground meat you want, but I use the ground turkey. It's a little bit more healthful. And so I'm going to add to this, though, our Asian stir-fry mix. This stuff is so delicious. So grabbing our 4-in-1 spice spoon. What's great about this is it is a tablespoon, a teaspoon, and on this side it's a half teaspoon. And while you won't be able to see it from where you are, there's a little line here that's a 1/4 teaspoon. So it's one piece. Rather than having to look for something like this, it jangles and gets in the way, and you can't get it into the jars. That makes me crazy. So I love that I don't have to do that. So I'm going to use a tablespoon of the mix right on there. Oh, again, I keep saying I wish you could smell this. It smells delicious. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cover it up, and it's going to go again into the microwave. And this is going to go in for 3 to 5 minutes. I know my microwave. I've made this one in particular before, and it's going to go in for 4. So going in for 4 minutes. My microwave is getting to work out, but look at all the stuff I'm able to make. So if you're thinking about from a meal prep aspect, all of the different things you can do in a short amount of time, you're ready to go with proteins and other kinds of things as well for the beginning of a week or before you need a whole bunch of meals moving forward. I've actually already also mixed up an aioli. This is a chipotle aioli. This is Greek yogurt, and this is a chipotle powder. Oh, so good. And what I like about this is that you can adjust the level of spiciness depending on your palate or your family's palate or anyone else in your household. So this does have a little bit of kick, so I really like it. So I already have that mixed up again in one of those prep bowls. You can make it ahead of time. This makes a really great dip for veggies as well. Really delicious. So I've already made that. But then what I'm going to do is, I was talking about the smaller prep bowls. We now have a larger 4-cup prep bowl. This thing is awesome. I have 2 of these. It has the silicone lid as well. They're great for making grain bowls or making salads ahead of time. They're just fantastic. So I actually already have in here a coleslaw mix that I actually made my own. Most coleslaw mixes use a regular head cabbage or green cabbage. That cabbage also doesn't like me very much. Apparently I have ticked off a lot of food over the years. And so I use a Napa cabbage. It's a little bit more mild. It's not as difficult on digestion. And I've added red cabbage and shredded carrots. So that's just a super easy thing that I mixed up really quickly. So I'm going to make up the dressing though for the coleslaw. So instead of a creamy coleslaw, I'm going to do more of a vinegar-based kind of a coleslaw. And so, whoops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our cruet. This thing is also fantastic for making all dressings and sauces. And like the bowls, this has measurements on them. I don't need additional things to be able to measure what I have going on. So I'm going to put in here, I'm going to actually make a half amount of what it calls for because it's just my husband and me. So I don't want to make more than I need. But again, that's what's great. I can make exactly what I need. If I want to double it, I'm having, making a lot more meals, I can double that just as easily as well. So this calls for a 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar. I'm going to do just 1/8 of a cup. I'm going to measure that in there like that. And rice wine vinegar is definitely something you're going to find in a lot of Asian foods. It just has, it's a milder flavor than certain other vinegars, and it has a different tang that is something that is really familiar if you really like Asian food. It's just one of those flavors that you just know automatically if you're already into Asian food. So I've got that, and then I'm going to add, I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil because for a vinaigrette or something, you want something that's going to help that vinegar and other flavors adhere to the coleslaw mix. So I've got that in there, and now I'm going to add. This is the sesame ginger dressing mix. Again, so good. And as I mentioned with the 4-in-1 spice spoon, what's great is it actually fits in here. Again, I hate the other ones that don't fit in here. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of that. Now see, I'm going to make a mess. So we have a funnel, a little silicone funnel. This thing is great. So I'm going to pop that right in there. I'm going to cover this up, give it a good shake. And then I'm going to mix it into the coleslaw. Whoops, I can get it to thread on there properly. So there we go. That's all mixed up. So what I like is, again, I can make dressing or anything else like that at the beginning of the week, stick it in the fridge, shake it up before I need it. It's nice and fresh, and again, I know what's in it. If you look at some of the dressings that you might have in their store-bought, you'd be surprised at the amount of sugar, the amount of sodium that is in a lot of these. And this way, I know what's in here. There's almost no sodium or no sodium at all in many Epicure products. So I love that. So I'm going to mix this up just a little bit. I mean, I've got this a little too full, but that's okay. So again, you can use this on in these wraps. You can use it as just a side salad. Put it on sandwiches. There's a lot of different things that you can do with a traditional coleslaw. So that is ready to go. Pull this out. So I am making a mess, and anyone who's ever cooked with me before knows that, has probably heard me say that if I ever had my own cooking show, it would probably be called Mess in the Kitchen, because I make a mess. But I do clean up after myself. So I've got that going for me. So I'm going to open that away from myself. Oh, it smells so good. So I'm going to use, this is actually our ground meat separator. At first I was like, I don't mind one of those things. I totally do. Oops, I need to drain that. Remember I said there was going to be moisture in the bottom, and because I can bend this, I can drain this really, really easily. So get that moisture out of there, and I'm back. So I'm going to use this to break this up. So I use this for obviously ground meat, hence the name. But I'll be honest, I use this even more for guacamole. This thing is perfect to smash up really lovely ripe avocados for a really easy and of course tasty guacamole mix. So I've got that all mixed up. Okay, those are all cut up. So great. Okay, so now that I have made a mess of all of these things, so I have all these three different wraps that I'm going to make. So I'm going to go backwards. So I started with one, and I'm going to go backwards. So what I'm going to do is make myself a little bit of space, grab myself a plate. For the Asian lettuce wraps, I like to use a butter lettuce. And in particular, for if I can find it, I like getting lettuces, in this case, the butter lettuce. This is actually living, so it actually has roots on it. So it's not going to go bad as quickly. It's going to stay fresh. And if you are someone who has a green thumb, you could probably plant this. I do not have a green thumb, so therefore I will not, because then it would die. It would not be good. So I'm going to just break off a piece of that. And I'm going to make myself, oh, you know what? I'm just going to use my spice spoon because it's handy and it's here. I don't have to make a mess of something else. So I'm going to put a little bit of that on the lettuce leaf, and then I'm going to top it with just a little bit of the coleslaw. So you get, the really that lusciousness of the meat, then you get that crunch and the tang from the coleslaw, and then that creamy nature we're going to add from the chipotle aioli. So that's a little dollop. So that's just fantastic. So good. So that is the first wrap. Ta-da! So I'm not going to eat them in front of you right now because that's just mean. So that's the first one. So that one, wrap number one, finished. So the second wrap is the black bean wrap. And this is the one that I said would be really, really great if you're doing more of a meal prep aspect to how you're prepping stuff. So let me get this out of the way. Again, I'm making a mess. So you can't see this, but I'm gonna lay this down here. See, I have a big kitchen, and yet you would not even know it the way I'm doing this. So, I'll just sit it on here. See, too much going on. So, there we go. So I have here just a whole wheat wrap, and it's a slightly larger one. You don't really want the smaller ones; they're harder to work with. So with this, I'm going to use this and do just a little smear, so that again, that's going to help other things adhere to the wrap. So I'm just going to spread that out. So this would be the size of like a really big burrito. So if you're looking for like the burrito size, so that you have something that's pretty good size there. So got that. And then this tells me to I'm gonna slice that. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of the peppers on there, like that. And then I'm going to use the black bean mixture. So good. So I'm gonna put those right on there. And again, you can use whatever ingredients you like, and kind of change it up so you don't get bored. It's easy to get bored with eating the same things over and over, but at least with all the Epicure products, it makes it easier to really have a little variety going. So I've got that in there, and as you saw, I kind of smashed it down so that it holds a little bit more. And then I'm going to use, mention avocado. Use a little bit of avocado on this. So avocado I'm going to use on 2 different items. So put that on there like that. Avocado is always a good choice. So having grown up in Ohio, avocados were not a normal thing. I don't think I ever had an avocado growing up. I never had guacamole. It just wasn't a thing. So, but now, can't not have them. So in terms of wrapping, I don't know if you can actually see this. So what you want to do is you want to go over almost to the halfway point and then pull it back towards you. So if you've ever been someplace where you see them make one of these, you see them that they go across and they pull it back. So they're kind of pulling everything into place. And then you're going to slowly and tightly wrap it up. So, and I'm still making a mess because, again, it's what I do. So I'm going to press it down a little bit so I'm spreading things out. And then if you want to wrap them in silicone or in plastic wrap, or if you want to use like a beeswax, which I actually prefer to use instead of plastic, let them set up. And once they set up, it's easier. You can cut them into little rolls, into little pinwheels. You can cut them on the bias and serve them as a lunch. You can serve it with a side of a salad. So I'm just going to slice that in half. Like that. Oops, I didn't slice all the way through because I wasn't paying attention. So there we go. Now I've got this beautiful, delicious wrap. So I'm just going to let that sit like that. So next and final, we're going to do the BLT chicken wrap. So I'm going to come back down this direction, go back on my recipe, and I am going to add, oh wait, what did I do here? Oh, see, I jumped ahead. So I have the chicken that has cooled, and you want it to be a little bit cooler in this case. You can serve it hot. You can absolutely do that. But when you're cooking of like a salad kind of a feel, you might not want something that's hot and it's going to wilt things. So I have a little bit of the crunchiness from the celery, and then I have the really nice sweet edge with the tomatoes. I'm going to pop in the rest of that avocado. All already cut up in there, if I can get it to cooperate. And then I'm going to take some of that dip that I made, that dressing. So again, it has a little bit of mayo, it has Greek yogurt, and it has both the creamy potato salad dressing mix and the better than bacon topper. So I'm going to just toss that in here. And you won't really be able to see me mix it up really well, but I'm totally doing that. So you could actually make this without the lettuce and do it as a chicken salad, just a regular chicken salad, and just serve it that way as a side. You could serve it on a sandwich. So there's a lot of different ways that you can really make this work for you. And again, you can use different proteins. If you are a vegetarian, you could do a tofu. If you're vegan, you can obviously use a vegan mayonnaise or yogurt as well for the creamy aspect. So again, you can completely make this fit your needs, your textural likes and dislikes and all of that. So I'm licking my fingers, which I would not do if I was cooking for other people, but it's just me and my husband, so that's just too bad. So I'm going to use this big romaine lettuce leaf, and I'm going to pop this on here. Again, oh my God, I got a little bit taste of that dressing. It is so good. There's a little bit of dill in it, not a lot. So if you don't like a lot of dill, you're not going to necessarily say, oh, that's dill. But it has this really bright flavor to it that is just so good. So I'm going to pop that on here. And then I'm going to add more of the better than bacon because, hello, the flavor of bacon. So as I was saying before, not actual bacon. It's supposedly better than bacon because it's a vegan bacon. So it's made out of smoked pinto beans. So I'm going to spread that over the top. And then that is my wrap. So I could wrap that up like this, almost like a little burrito, and serve it right up. You could do this on little endive, I can't speak, little cups, and do them as an appetizer for an outdoor kind of a barbecue. So it's a nice light way that you can really use this in a lot of different ways. So I have all of these 3 different wraps. So Stacy, because you're on here, you get to tell me which one I'm supposed to try. So should I try the Asian one, the BLT one, or should I try the Mexican black bean one? What do you think?
I vote for Asian.
Asian, done. Going back to it. I really have just made a mess for myself here. I'm very good at that.
The most messy one.
You know, it probably is. So I'm going to.
Sorry.
It's so good. I've actually done all of this actually in like a grain bowl with brown rice. So what a great way to do take all of those things, make a whole bunch at the beginning of the week, do it as a wrap, and then turn it into something else throughout the week. You could do it with rice noodles and make it almost like a big stir fry. So many possibilities. So that, as they say, is that. And I'm having a cocktail because it is Friday and it's happy hour. So in 40 minutes time, not even 40 minutes time, I just made 3 different meals and a cocktail. And they're all healthy. They all have different variety and great possibilities for moving forward and not having to use or heat up your oven on these very, very hot days. So with that, that's pretty much it for wrapping up this Friday, wrapping up this very busy week, and wrapping it up in a delicious way. So thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully everyone liked what they saw. If you like what you saw and you want to get in on some of the things you saw, let me know, and I will make sure that you get all of these options at your door and in your kitchen ASAP. So thanks.